Hey, let's talk about a new article. It goes along with CNN 10, but this article is about all of the pollution and waste that has come from COVID. What I mean by that is all of the extra like food containers. If you've watched CNN 10 already, you've learned about this. And then masks. So they might call these like paper masks, not cloth masks. I don't actually wear a cloth mask, and it's definitely not good for the environment. I'm the reason I wear this, it's a little easier for me to breathe. But in the article, spoiler alert, we'll find out that actually wearing cloth masks is better because you can wash them and reuse them a couple different times. So let's pull up the article. It's called Tips for Cutting Down on COVID-19 Waste. We can make it here a little bit bigger, and I'll put on my glasses so I can actually read. But before we get to the actual article, maybe we should take a look at this picture. Remember, looking at pictures that the article provides is always a good idea. It will help you understand the article a little bit better. And this is another one that comes from Canada. So the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company. Discarded masks, like this one in Vancouver, have become a common sight across the country. Tips for cutting down on COVID-19 waste. Wearing cloth masks and limiting food packaging can help. But the one thing, that I thought about as I was watching CNN 10 is also throwing away packaging. It actually is probably good for the virus. Like it won't allow the virus to spread, but then we have like more pollution. So keeping people safe. Luckily, that company in New York that they talked about, CNN 10. Hopefully, that could be a wave for the future. Like maybe things will change as a result of that. And I think one thing, 100 years from now, people will look at and think, "Oh, how could they do that?" Medicine. I think our medicine is going to get a lot better. We talked about that with cloning, and I also think like the way we take care of our waste is just. I think it's going to be kind of like barbaric. 100 years from now, oh, I can't believe they use so much plastic. So hopefully it'll get better. If you go outside, the odds of spotting a mask are pretty high these days. After all, public health officials have made wearing a mask mandatory in most indoor public places in order to stop the spread of COVID-19. But what about the pollution caused by all the extra personal protective equipment, the PPE? Measures such as wearing masks help reduce the spread of COVID-19, but disposing of these items leads to more waste. Remember, I'll put a link to this article in the description box. And if you want to read any of these other ones, you can click on that. Look at that. Look at that. More trash. Think about the kind of mask you want to use. There are alternatives to disposables. Don't worry, there are ways we can reduce, reuse, and recycle. Here are some tips. One, wear cloth masks. If you want to avoid wearing single use masks, cloth masks are a good alternative. You can even create your own face masks out of material you have at home. Just be sure it has 3 layers. If you're using a reusable mask, the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends washing it regularly. Just take a look at this for a second. We spell that a little differently here in the United States. Let me pull up this. We will spell it Senters. So in Canada, they will spell it just a little bit differently. Homemade masks such as these can be an environmentally friendly alternative to single-use masks. You can do this by including it with your regular laundry and washing it with laundry detergent and warm water. I, I guess this is a video, I don't know. Should I change my mask as often as I change my underwear? Well, hopefully you change your underwear um, once a day, hopefully. And I think your mask, you're supposed to change more often, but I'm guilty of wearing the same mask a couple days in a row. Yeah, unfortunately, I need to get better. I need to get better. Two, limit use of plastic gloves. Now, this is not a thing really in the United States. I know in other countries, I think more people wear plastic gloves when they go shopping and stuff, especially for groceries. But in the United States, that doesn't happen. I know sometimes at restaurants you'll see servers wearing gloves, but that's about it. Although plastic gloves are important for healthcare workers, the World Health Organization, the WHO, says the use of gloves in public does not help limit the spread of COVID-19. In fact, the WHO says the use of gloves when not needed is a waste of resources. And here, this looks like a tweet from the WHO. The question is wearing rubber gloves while out in public effective in preventing the new coronavirus infection? You can see the answer no. Regularly washing your bare hands offers more protection against catching COVID 19 than wearing rubber gloves. So, something to keep in mind if you were thinking of wearing rubber gloves, it might actually be more of a harm to the environment than actually keeping you safe. Washing your hands more important than washing those than wearing gloves and switching them out. Instead, it's important to practice good hand hygiene by regularly washing your bare hands with soap and water. Number three, limit food packaging. Another way to limit waste during COVID 19 is to limit the use of food packaging. You might have heard rumors that the more food is packaged, the safer it is. But according to the WHO, remember the World Health Organization, it's not the case. In order to multiply, COVID 19 needs an animal or human and can't be transmitted through food or food packaging. Instead of buying overly packaged food, just make sure you wash your hands with soap and water for between 40 and 60 seconds before preparing food or eating. Number four, and I know that I don't do this as much as I should. I already admitted that. Number four, throw away PPE carefully. Photos on social media have shown that disposable masks are being discarded on streets, beaches, and in oceans. Remember to throw your mask away in the garbage. Okay, hang on. I do throw my mask away in the garbage, but a lot of times the way I use my mask, I think a lot of us do, like we'll just leave it on the desk when we're not using it. And I guess if we're doing everything correctly, we will use each of these masks only once. Be careful where we put our hands, but to be honest, I'm probably doing it wrong, and I think maybe many of us are doing it wrong. Hopefully we'll get some vaccines, right? Excuse me. So if you are throwing away single-use PPE, be sure to stick it in a garbage can with the lid on it so it doesn't blow away. One problem that I've noticed, I think I've caught myself every time, is that in my back seat, there are some extra masks in there. Maybe mine, maybe my kids, whatever. But when I take my bag out for school, sometimes a mask will like drop onto the parking lot. And luckily, I think I've seen it every single time, like, oh, and I probably should throw that mask away, but I might use it a little later. I don't know. It's just so hard, right? Hopefully soon we won't have to worry about this anymore. I hope you enjoyed this article. Hope you learned a little bit of something from it.